Let's talk about the oxytocin regulation, that how oxytocin in a female is regulated. Now, in order to talk about its regulation, there are two main sites of its action. The first one being the mammary gland or the breast, the second one being the uterus. Now, both of these are the primary sites of action of the posterior pituitary. And the way they are regulated is mostly of neuronal in origin. And because it is neuronal in origin, it is usually goes up the brain and then downwards to the uterus via the nerves. Now it goes to the brain via the afferent impulses, which can result either due to the cervical dilation or through the direct vaginal stimulation. Now, because of these two, there can be stimulation going up the afferent impulses into the brain. And because of these impulses, there is oxytocin being released. And that oxytocin then works on the uterus, which then goes into further dilation, giving more afferent impulses, making it a cycle. And this usually happens in the late pregnancy and during the labor. The other effect, and in some textbooks it is even considered the primary effect of the oxytocin hormone, is effects on the breast or the mammary gland. Now what happens is that the skin over the breast has a huge amount of touch receptors, especially around the nipples. So whenever a baby suckles around the nipple, there is increased amount of afferent impulses from the nipple. And these afferent impulses then travel upward to the brain along with the same afferent impulses which move to the brain from the uterus. And as they move towards the brain, there is an increased amount of oxytocin being released. And when that oxytocin is released on the breast, it results in the expression of the milk. Now, this whole cycle, when the baby suckles on the nipple and then these impulses travel to the brain, resulting in increased excretion or secretion of the oxytocin, resulting in increased amount of the expression of the milk, is termed as the psychogenic stimuli. And this psychogenic stimuli is then usually termed as the milk ejection reflex. And milk ejection reflex, even though there are a lot of other factors which do come into play, is usually modulated and regulated by the secretion of the oxytocin hormone.